Imagine you could double the time people spend watching your YouTube videos simply by changing the format. Today we're talking about 7 tried and tested formats that keep viewers engaged, accelerate the growth of your channel, and can have a real impact on your business's bottom line. So stick around if you're serious about scaling YouTube for yourself or your company. For every format, I'll break down what it is, give examples of channels which are succeeding big time with it, and give you some quick pros and cons. Hi, I'm Edward Wood, recovering CMO and co-founder of Humble&Brag, the full-stack YouTube agency for startups. Hit subscribe if you want to learn the pro-level tactics we've used to scale YouTube brand channels into the hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions in revenue. So, when you think of YouTube, which format comes to mind? Probably this one, right? The talking head. Typically an expert breaking down a topic or someone recounting their experience. Done well, this can fit snugly into the top left of the action priority matrix. It's high impact and low effort. And because of the low production requirements, it can help you hit your stride with those all-important consistent weekly releases. The likes of Alex Hormozi, Daya, and Ali Abdal, they've optimized this format to kingdom come. The hook, the animated opening, the jump cuts, the charismatic delivery, the message matching, and they're great examples of how quickly you can build your trust and credibility as an expert with this format. Then again, its success relies on all those things I just mentioned, and those aren't easy to accomplish. And if all you do is talking head content, it can get a little bit samey for both you as the creator and your audience. In this video, I'm going to argue that one sidestep to the left or the right when it comes to format selection can pay dividends for your channel, and that without having to hire a horde of videographers and editors. So let's get started with my current favorite format. Number 1, reaction content. You remember those graphs I showed you at the beginning of the video? That was a talking head versus a reaction video from the same channel. And you saw the difference in watch time, over double the average. So the formula for a reaction video is pretty simple. An expert critiques the work of a practitioner using the original footage for familiarity and cultural relevance, and also as the raw material upon which they show off their expertise, and ultimately sell their product or service. A really great example of this is RP Strength and Dr. Mike, whose charismatic breakdowns of celebrity training regimes are the pillar on which their channel stands. Almost 4 million subs and 2 billion views, the numbers speak for themselves. So what's great about this format? Well, arguably it's easier to produce than a talking head. Yes, you need to select clips and draw up talking points and plot the skeleton of the edit in pre-production, but you save a ton of time in scripting, and having the original footage to lean on can really help your delivery feel more natural too. It's another example of low effort and high impact. And the cons? Well, I consider this a bit more of a brand play. It's great for positioning, especially if you're a small fish in a big pond, because it creates awareness and builds an audience, but in our experience, it doesn't convert as well as talking head content. Ultimately, it's more entertainment, kind of passive consumption, than education or inspiration, like activation. So next up, let's talk about a format which combines all 3 of these things. Number 2, challenge content. Here's the formula. An expert, or maybe even a novice, challenges themselves to learn and complete a task from scratch in an improbably short space of time. This does 2 things. Firstly, it provides a kind of natural story arc with plenty of obstacles along the way that keeps the viewer entertained. And secondly, it's a medium to really demonstrate your product's value and your team's expertise. I can pluck an example of this from my own time at Babbel, where we challenged hyperpolyglots to learn languages in a week and sometimes even an hour. These videos became whole campaigns with articles and ads and PR created off the back of them. And altogether, they drove double-digit growth for the company. Now, the big disadvantage of this format is that they can be high effort, requiring that you enlist multiple participants and document it all over a period of time. But these challenges, to be honest, they needn't be complicated documentary-esque productions either. Back then, a whole lot of the inspiration for this format was from BuzzFeed's The Try Guys, and we took further inspiration from BuzzFeed with our Unpronounceable Words series. This format literally just involved getting a few people in front of a camera in a room a little bigger than a cupboard and challenging them to pronounce words in different languages. And the series clocked up well over 10 million views. So ask yourself the following question: what are some of your customers' main pain points? And how can you show someone overcoming those in a miraculously short space of time? Now you've got your reaction content for reach and your challenge content for conversion. What's next? Let's take a look at format 3, which I call the Listicle Reveal. Like Ali Abdal says, everything is a list. If you're struggling to write a video, try thinking of it as a title, a thumbnail, and a list. This creates a system and a framework to come up with more ideas. Let's evoke BuzzFeed for a moment again. If you're over 30 and were around for the advent of the internet, you'll remember a time in our lives when the whole of the internet became a listicle thanks to companies like Upworthy and Lad Bible, and yes, the biggest culprit of them all, BuzzFeed. They realized very, very quickly that the human brain loves a list, especially if that list has an odd number of items. 7 ways to lose your lover, 9 ways to build $1 million business. But the Listicle Reveal is more than just a listicle, where every element is unique and discrete from one another. A Listicle Reveal is more like a roadmap or strategy, where every point builds on the last to achieve a certain goal. Take Ali Abdaal's biggest ever video with 13 million views. It's titled 9 Passive Income Ideas, How I Make 27 Grand per Week. So the goal is to make a ton of passive income. Here are your 9 steps to build a portfolio of revenue streams which achieve this. Or our friends over at 9X, they just had their breakout video, 8 insane ChatGPT agent use cases. The goal here is to save hours and win your life back, and here are the 8 ways you can use ChatGPT to do exactly that. So in summary, if you want that grand and ultimate goal, you have to watch the whole video, which obviously benefits that all-important watch time. In fact, the video you're watching right now is built on a similar principle. These are the 7 formats you can deploy for a truly full funnel YouTube strategy. Nowadays, you'll see a lot of the big YouTubers kind of moving away from the listicle style titling, but much of their content is built around the same structure. Okay, let's move on to format 4, and even though it's not necessarily really a format and would logically make sense at the end of the list, it's so important, I'm going to drop it slap bang in the middle. Format number 4, sequels. Imagine one of your reaction videos or challenge videos or listicle reveals really takes off. What do you do next? Now there's a pretty strong argument to just make it again, and there are 2 ways you can do this. Firstly, let's take the example I just mentioned, 8 insane ChatGPT agent use cases. Now in 9X's case, at the time of filming, they've clocked up over 200,000 views and jumped a fair few thousand subscribers because of this video. And you know those people watched and subscribed for similar reasons. They want to save time in their daily life with AI and automation. So imagine if you make another video titled, very simply, 8 more insane ChatGPT agent use cases. Not only are you playing to the crowd, you're pulling in new viewers, and you'll be providing the perfect basis for reinvigorating views on the original video. The algorithm has already given you the thumbs up. It's very likely to do it again. Now you have even more credibility in your niche. The second approach is to just wait a little longer, a year, for example, and then update and remake this video, taking into account any and all the industry developments that have occurred in the meantime. This is an approach my co-founder, Callum, taught me back when we were working at Career Foundry. And intuitively, to be honest, I didn't really get it at all. I mean, why remake something that's working and drag traffic and views away from it? But I was proven emphatically wrong. He remade our most popular videos and pretty much every single one was a hit. Now the pros and cons of listicle reveals and sequels are pretty similar. Both are easy to produce and lend themselves a natural kind of preordained structure. But if you overdo it, your channel can become a bit formulaic and a little like industrialized content production. So let's get back to our list and the most human of formats, the podcast. Yeah, and I can see you rolling your eyes. Everyone has a podcast. The world doesn't need another podcast. YouTube doesn't need another podcast. And you're right, but you're also wrong. It's true that there isn't much space on YouTube for yet another podcast, especially if that's the core of your channel. But what podcasts do very well is provide your superfans with content that will help them to get to know you and your company as people, rather than as mere purveyors of information. And if you invite guests on, it'll help you build valuable relationships in your industry. And we've personally found it provides us immediately with very accessible, personable short-form content for LinkedIn. Now, if you're unlucky enough to spend some time on LinkedIn, you'll notice how many selfies there are. It's like Facebook 15 years ago. And that's because they perform well. But LinkedIn is in the midst of jumping on the short form video bandwagon, and clipped podcast content can provide the perfect animated selfie, which you can use to build familiarity, trust, and credibility in your industry. Now, the downside of podcasts is clear. Low view counts on YouTube, but views aren't everything. Lean too much into the performance content, the listicles, and the sequels, and you risk building a very two-dimensional image of yourself. So with that in mind, let's talk about a format which adds a third dimension. Format number 6, founder-led content, or building in public. Founders, CEOs, perhaps leaders in general, they all carry a certain aura to them. They've successfully conceived and launched a company, have their founding story in their back pocket, and ideally know their industry landscape inside out. They check out their competitors on a near daily basis, read customer reviews, and give their team the feedback they need to improve. So why not film all of this? build in public. The absolute best example of this is Nothing. Their most popular videos are literally their CEO just reviewing their competitors' latest releases. Nothing CEO reviews iPhone 14 Pro is their single biggest video with 4.4 million views. And their third biggest video is their CEO reacting to reviews of their latest release. And one of their latest releases is just him roasting an employee. As a strategy, this is great. You have a small fish in a big Apple pond that's getting awareness by people searching for Apple reviews. They're basically getting a share of voice for free by piggybacking on Apple's brand. And then they're just pivoting this format very slightly to make their product the focus. It's pretty ingenious, really. It's also easy to produce, with most of the content following a kind of vlog or interview style format. But the downside of this approach will always be managing consistency. Founders' time is pretty much always scarce, especially for long-term plays like this. But if you can emphasize how impactful it can be, you might just be able to get their buy-in. And if your founders aren't so time-strapped that they can't spare an hour or two to get in front of the camera per week, well, they can work wonders for your channel and ultimately for the company. Okay, let's move on to the last format, which is less about working wonders for your channel and more about working wonders for your business. Number 7, the converter. Most content creators and companies kind of focus on the top of the funnel when they're producing videos. They want views first and just measure second. Another lesson that I learned from my co-founder is that real business impact can come from one very simple tactic, a step-by-step walkthrough of a lead magnet. So here's another example from Career Foundry. While working there, we developed a bunch of free courses on topics like data analytics, UX, and web development. Each of these courses was about 5 hours long from start to finish and provided enough content for a student to complete their first mini project in their new domain. So what did Callum and his team do? They simply made a video entitled, for example, Free UX Design Course for Beginners, and had an expert walk viewers through the course, one tutorial at a time. It clocked up way fewer views than other videos on the channel, but it converted way better because it makes the next step for the viewer so clear. Sign up for the lead magnet. Our friends over at 9x took a leaf out of this book and found a smart way of building this dynamic into pretty much every one of their videos, increasing their conversion rates dramatically. If you want to find out exactly how they did that, check out this video here where their co-founder Jan and I break down how they track and optimize their channel's performance. So that just about wraps it up for today. Which format are you going to try first? Answers in the comments, please. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more tips on how to make YouTube work for your company. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.